What's Your Sales Story is really the untold story of sales success. Oftentimes, you hear about the person's success. They were a salesperson, they're area manager of the year, and of course, I was salesperson of the year. But when I thought about writing this book, and it was a long process, and I'll get into that in a second, what I realized is that I actually failed a lot more than I succeeded. And the story about me and not wanting to work in the rain is true. And there are a number of other stories that played major roles in terms of me not being successful. So the book really chronicles my experience going from a young, cocky, arrogant 19-year-old kid going through the corporate life, struggling for a couple of years. I talk about the fact that it got so bad at one point that I was put on a verbal warning, and I was told that if I didn't improve my sales results, I was going to get fired. And I'm sure Julian saw that in my file. True story. It talks about stories of how I was so frustrated because I didn't believe I was being recognized for my hard work that I actually tried to leave Allergan and interview with competitors, and guess what? Didn't get hired. It also talks about the fact that I thought to myself, this corporate thing isn't working out, so why don't I just leave corporate America and go and get my MBA? I applied, and guess what? I didn't get in. It also talks about the fact that I tried to become an entrepreneur. I thought about opening up a restaurant. I had my own public access television show. All these things just to try and get out of this frustration which I was faced with as a professional in sales. But ultimately, through a number of things happening, things turned around and I became salesperson of the year. I'm going to talk about some of those things throughout my presentation tonight. So What's Your Sales Story is really the true story of what we all go through as professionals and salespeople and managers every single day. And when I was writing the book, I thought to myself, there's nothing out there that really speaks to what really happens when you're by yourself and you're contemplating your life and your career and your frustrations, or you're talking to your wife or husband or girlfriend or whatnot. And there's a book that talks about that. And for me, I was very afraid to put my stories out there because everyone, always saw me as being, successful and so forth and so on. But I felt it was important for me to really tell the truth because that's how we can all grow, by telling the truth. So What's Your Sales Story is a story of my experience going from that young, cocky 19-year-old intern to salesperson here and all the ups and downs that are involved with it. A couple other things about the book that I think are important, and that is, number one, what I found is that there are lots of books that talk about the 10 habits of highly successful people and the 5 habits of this and so forth and so on. But as you think about it, success is not determined by a number of habits that we have. Success is determined by understanding who you are and what you're all about and what's holding you back from being successful. And it's your story. And each of us has our own personal story that is personal to us. So a book on the 10 habits, although it might be effective, it really doesn't hit home. So my book is going to ask you as a reader to talk about your own experiences and your own stories to help you grow based on what you need as a professional or as a person in your personal life. It's a reality-based approach to sales. I lay it all out there. And at this point in my life and my career, I have come to the belief that it's all about being true to yourself and being honest. So all my future books are going to be based on this idea of reality, what really goes on in a person's life and how we can be successful. And also takes you through this process of teaching you through. As I said before, I definitely tell my story throughout the book, but in the same token, there are exercises in the book that ask you, the reader, to reflect on your own experiences and your own life and your own story that can help you grow based on what is holding you back from being the success you want to be or what can keep you on the path to being successful.